we keep creepy notes on everybody. be a stalker.
Oh, yeah, well, there's a fine line there, but at the end of the day, you're not wrong, right? We started this episode a little weird. We're going to end it a little weird, I think.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.
Hey, welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing those stories to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. Because let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, or what gender. You can make an amazing life in sales, and today's guest, no stranger to the journey. I'd like to welcome Emelie Sanders to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. I want to jump right in. I want to hear your crazy sales story.
Okay, for sure. Oh, man. Okay. I guess the sales story is really someone messing up me trying to make sales. It ended up with me getting banned from Meta. I'm not supposed to use any of their products, actually. My VPN changes like every 30 minutes, and sometimes I keep getting caught, but yeah, I'm not supposed to be on Meta. Here I am.
I know some folks like that. They were caught scraping Facebook groups for data way back in the day, and they're no longer allowed to participate. And so
bad.
Hey, listen, I'm not here to judge. You do what you do. You tiptoe lines, and sometimes you get caught. You got to pay the toll to rock and roll. It is what it is, right? This is sales and marketing is one of those places that a lot of gray areas exist. And I'm not saying that you should or should not leverage them or take advantage of anything that you can in whatever situation you're in. But what I do know is that situation definitely led you to changing the way that you approach building your business and generating traffic. So let's go down that path, right? You can't use Meta. What the heck do you do now?
Exactly. Except I still use Meta, but this isn't a podcast about ethics.
Talk to me.
Yeah, for sure. So I primarily actually had, all your eggs in one basket, as I think a lot of people do, especially in the beginning. It's like, pick one platform, get really good at it. But what happens when the platform is kind of ripped from you? So for sure, I used Instagram a whole lot because it was just early days Instagram, so good. And then I got banned from Meta when someone accused me of like infringing upon her intellectual property or something like that. Regardless, ended up getting the boot. And at the time, like my Instagram account was gone. We had a bunch of recurring payments that were kind of like at the same time falling off that month, and our lead generation obviously just like stopped because that was where all of our leads were coming from. And it was probably about $4,000 and like recurring revenue that we were like, ooh, okay, how are we going to be plugging that up? Because now we're kind of running a little bit dry. And from that, I mean, obviously, besides finding other platforms to be on or just different ways to talk about what you're selling, I feel like I primarily had 3 kind of really big takeaways. And this was also the beginning of my journey that really led me to really focusing on retention as well. We have an incredibly high retention, and we also don't work on like a retainer model either. Our payment plans are usually from like productized offers, so that's really interesting. But one thing that I had noticed from the way that we were selling is that our sales journey the end point of a sales journey that we had always kind of ended up in the DMs. So it was always ended up being that we were sending people and closing in like a DM area, and that's what we had kind of trained people to do, is like talk to us here, talk to us there. And I had to basically redesign that process to end somewhere else, which ended up being email. So that took some time to redirect people to having more touch points within emails, creating different ways for people to learn about offers rather than going directly to having a conversation with me in the DMs. And then also, what does it look like to have more people making that purchasing and buying decision from an email too? So we had to start baking all of that in. And email marketing was something I'd done for years. So it was funny because when all of this was like happening, there was a lot of social media content by other experts, people in email marketing are like, this is why you need email. This is why you have to do email. And it's like, we've been doing email, but it's not enough just to have a list. Like, so we have to really redefine the email marketing strategy for that.
I think it's important to recognize too, because so many salespeople will get 100% stuck on a single lead source, and they have absolutely no plan on what they would do if it goes dry, right? I've met so many real estate agents that are like, oh, I have a builder that sends me 5, I've got a whoever that sends me, or like, in little weird niche products, it's like, hey, you got to have a guy, and everybody has the guy, but like, what happens when you're no longer able to be that source? And it's so difficult to get people to believe it can happen to them, but you can be deplatformed, your websites can go down, things can happen. And so I'm a big fan of having a multifaceted approach. And at the end of the day, email is still the one thing that we're all plugging into every sign up here, put your thing in, like, everybody signs up for email on something. So I love the idea of building a list. It's something I've been huge on. I push a lot of my clients on for you.
Yeah, and you send a lot of emails too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you opening them. What do you, honest opinion?
Good emails.
From one expert to another, what do you think?
All right.
Are they decent?
Yeah, no, they are. And I like that you send them like regularly and they're not like crazy long. I've definitely noticed that. I mean, sure, like one strategy is not going to work for everybody, but I have seen a lot of success with like more shorter, more conversational, punchy to the point emails for sure. So yeah, no, I love of course seeing those, because I started getting them after we like connected and all of that. So love it. But yeah, like all roads leading back to email. But then also it's like, it's not enough just like add people to the list. People don't even think about, I know people with huge lists, and whenever it's like, where are the conversions actually happening, they're like, oh yeah, like I close most of my sales in the DMs or like on a sales call. And I'm like, if you design it that way, cool, but like if you can't make sales just from your emails, we've got a bigger problem. So that's something that we had to redesign. Essentially, it wasn't hard, but because we were already making sales there, but when the bulk of the conversions happening elsewhere, to kind of shift that focus, that was a good thing for us. The second big observation or takeaway from this also was like the face-to-face, like having face-to-face with people matters, and like your voice mattering. At the time, like I mentioned, Instagram was where I had all the eggs in that basket, and I used stories a lot to like show my face, talk, voice messages, all of that. I will say for me, when people experience me, they buy from me. So anytime I can get my face or my voice personally, that's an easy sell. So what I had to do in the middle of this was if I'm just have emails, it's like, where's my face? Where's my voice? All of that. And so we had to turn up the dial on that. So I was sending, casual Loom videos, right? Like little walkthroughs, here's like a sampling of a training or a clip or something. And then I also temporarily introduced these monthly calls where anyone could bring something for like an hour. And it's like, I'm just here. And getting that face-to-face, and helped significantly. And whenever I actually went back and tracked it, when we did those monthly calls, we called them Caseo Kikies. When we listed everyone who attended, only 3 people, and that was over the span of almost 6 months, only 3 attendees didn't purchase anything from us later.
That's a pretty impressive stat. And I think it goes to show the importance of true relationship building. This is something so many people are leaving out of the sales process right now. It's very transactional, and it's very, what can I show you about me that's great, versus can you tell me more about you so I can genuinely understand how to provide the thing that you desire or are looking for the most. And I love how you just can look at that and say, hey, listen, I measured it. These people attended. We tracked it. Over this time period, all but a handful bought something. And so there was a return on the investment there. And what most people are afraid of, and I think this is why, is like they don't mind hosting the thing, but they don't want to do the work to get people to the thing. They don't want to do the work after the thing to like call and make sure people enjoyed the thing. They just want someone to show up with their credit card out and say, hey, I'm in. And as you mentioned, you can get to that point, but it takes a significant amount of work. So what was like your third takeaway that you think really led you to figuring out how to make that final transition over?
Yeah, I think the other one ended up coming down to like what we were selling. So my just entrepreneurial background at large, like I've sold high ticket, low ticket, all sorts of different things. And at that point, I would say we had, how are we defining high, low ticket, whatever. I would say like our main offer at that point was like a $2,500 mark. Some people it's high, some people it's low, whatever. But that was like the bulk, like that was the main thing that we sold. And there was just like I saw there was a lot of opportunities to kind of dip back into people who were interested in the past clients. There were just like a lot of people. I was like, we have a lot of open like loops here. Like, what are some things that we could just like easy like closes, And so at that point, I really leaned on like actual like lower ticket products, which is something that I hadn't done in a while. And it was, I was
it's
like,
a different world
crazy.
for sure.
It is. And so it's like we used like lower ticket, compared to $2,500. So anything from like, we had some 500, even like, $100 things, right? It's like using some of those to like ramp up into selling the main product or like down selling. One of the best things I did, I don't have the numbers in my brain, but one of the best things we did was creating like a very, like almost like an abandoned cart type email experience for some of the low ticket offers, and people who just like were interested in something, clicked around, never bought, just closing that. And that was so easy to do. And then just reselling to people. So basically like we were like, okay, what's the lowest lift way for us to close, but it was just really the minimum goal was like the 4,000 of recurring. I was like, if we could just kind of like keep that clean, that'd be great. I was like, I know it's got a month. What are we going to do?
It's like, I want to pay myself this month. Please, let's go find some more business. Like, I will take a hit, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I was like, if we could just like stay, like, I'm not looking for a growth month here, okay? Like, your girl just got banned from all the things. What can we do in a month, right? And so it was so funny because so with all of that, I think we were only down like $112 and some change or something. And I was like, yeah. And so it's like, it's cool though, because it's like, I think a big part of why these three things I was able to identify, a lot of it comes from looking at things we've tracked in the past, know thyself, right? Know your clients, knowing all of these points and being able to like look retrospectively and make those decisions. Because like these three things that work for me, is that going to actually be something that could plug that for someone else? Probably not exactly. But the thought process of being able to navigate through what are those three things that would be really good for us to do. And then from there too, it's like, do we still do these things? No. The monthly Caseo Kikies that we were doing, that was like a temporary thing. It's something that no longer has the same ROI because the situation is different. I actually just literally at the top of this month closed out like the digital products, like the shop on my website. So, things evolve, but yeah, it got us where we are now.
Well, and that's the important thing. And so many people will stay stuck in the old ways because they think that's the only way to do things. And I mean, we're recording this at the start of 2026, right? Things are different. Sales is different. Marketing is different. There is AI. There is new tools. There's so much more noise. The algorithms have changed in the way that these platforms show content. And so if you're not constantly evolving and finding new ways to be sure you're in front of the right people at the right time with the right message, you're gonna fall behind. Like, I hate to say it, and it's not like a scare tactic, but it's the scary truth of, listen, shit's happening, and you got to get on board that train and be a part of it. And the nicest thing about this is kind of, Emelie, you mentioned this, if you've been doing some of it, even if it's not perfect, you're leaps and bounds ahead of all the other people who haven't started any of this yet, right? I still meet people to this day that have no CRM, no email list, no database, no organization of any of their leads. They're spending thousands of dollars a month on marketing. And I'm asking, hey, where do you track a conversion? Like, how many deals are you doing and where are they coming from? And they're like, I don't know. I did a couple of deals. And it's like,
I wouldn't know what that money is going
mercy.
to. Sometimes I stumble upon the same thing where it's like, all this money going out to what exactly? Because like the math is not mathing. I'm confused. Like we run
And
so lean. I'm like, what is going on?
well, and I think something I'd love your perspective on, because I think you talked about this in your profile when I was looking at it, is a lot of people will hire marketing companies that are really great at showing vanity metrics of we
Yeah.
got you all of these views and this is happening and this
Oh,
is
hell yeah.
happening and it sounds good, but, and you know where I'm going with this, so feel free to take the ball and run with it. What's the difference between getting traffic and getting conversions?
Absolutely. No, I love that because I think that we hit with this business that I have right now that we're kind of storytelling on. I had like less than like 80 followers across all like social platforms. Like I think our list was at like 200-ish. It was just very like even just like low eyeballs in the beginning. And it's like we hit our first like we already had hit our first like 6-figure month before like even hitting the year mark of our first year. And it's because our conversion rates are crazy high and our retention is crazy high. And it's like, I am a firm believer in like, why would you pour more volume at the top if like your conversion is like not locked in? Like, of course, like you don't need to have it. I mean, be reasonable. It doesn't need to be like perfect, right? But it's like if you could get that conversion figured out, then when you're putting the traffic at the top, you're just like why would you not do that? It like logically tracks. I don't understand why it's flipped, but here we are.
Yeah, well, and that's always the game, right? Some people are firm believers that it's a volume thing, so like, hey, I'm just going to fill the top of the funnel,
Yeah.
and then whatever ends up in the bottom is good. And other
Yeah.
people are like, hey, I really just focus on the bottom of the funnel, and I don't have enough leads to stay consistent because there's nothing bringing them in. And there's definitely a balance of importance and understanding, like, hey, as you mentioned, sometimes it's those low ticket products that just get someone's attention. It's a book, it's a podcast, it's just something that you spend a little time with your Caseo Kikies or whatever they were, right? Like, hey, I'm going to do this thing for a while to generate some value, and then people are going to be like, okay, now I understand where the transition is. And part of that is understanding the customer journey and nurturing them through that. And it sounds to me like that's one of the things you guys have become really good at is we get them to being clients, and then once they're clients, we work really well to keep them. So what would you say is kind of you don't have to give us all the sauce, but like what are maybe one or two things that you guys really focus on to keep that retention rate so high?
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of people will say, oh, well, like do good work. Cool, great, love that.
Obviously.
Duh. Do great work. But also like we're very intentional with the things that we sell. There's like always a next step for them. And getting the timing right on when you sell them to the next step. A great example of this is, and things have changed since then, but the main offer I had at the time was like an offer you to bring something that you're selling in, and I'm going to teach you to write the messaging and all of the copy assets for it. And then the next step over for them was something that was like a more holistic sales strategy, right? It's like, okay, we've kind of got this little piece, but like, what does it look like to zoom out, make all your pieces connect, blah, blah, blah. So that was an offer that was designed for them afterwards. And for a short bit, we would let people like finish their program and they would be like, hey, do you want to do this next thing? But, and it worked. Like it worked, but we saw a drastic increase in conversion whenever we shifted the invitation to like halfway through their experience, where it's like, hey, you're like halfway through, you know, and what we did was like a reserving your spot and like paying later, but then like signing a contract for that. So reserve now, pay later. And I mean, I think at that point we had, when we were measuring the last time that we had done that, we had 12 people that we had offered it to, and 10 of them converted over. And that ticket, I think that was like at the time, it was like a $5,000 offer. So I think it's like you have to experiment. Like you were saying too, I love like how all these things are dynamic. Business models are different. There's so much to consider, but timing is one of the biggest, I would say the biggest takeaways we have had with the retention there. And then the second thing is, like you mentioned early on, we were talking about relationships. Our like lead tracker, CRM, whatever, we are very, very on top of keeping notes on everybody. We have a Slack channel exclusively for this. So I will be like, hey, so-and-so has this going on. This is happening. Had a conversation here, dates, times, screenshots, whatever. And we just like front load it. And then our tech VA will like go and update it for us. But we keep creepy notes on everybody.
Yeah.
Be a stalker.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a fine line there, but at the end of the day, you're not wrong, right? We started this episode a little weird. We're going to end it a little weird, I think. There's a fine line, but at the same time, like, you have to keep meticulous notes. You have to know more about your clients than they typically know about themselves, so that you can be ahead of problems before they come problems. And Emelie, it sounds like you guys are doing some amazing things. I know you're putting out a ton of great content to help people that are going through this journey. So for the respective time, because we could nerd out on this for many, many hours, I'm sure. How do we find you, follow you, check out more of your content, and see how we stay not getting banned on Meta, but whatever.
You can find me on Meta platforms actually at Pass the Queso. But honestly, going to passthequeso.com will bring you right to joining our newsletter, and that's the place I want you to be. So go there.
Beautiful. I love it. Make sure you guys check out the newsletter. Emelie, thank you for sharing some time with us today. It really means a lot. It was a lot of fun. I think we dropped some gems in there, and people that were paying attention, they're going to get some good stuff.
Boom. Thanks.
All right. Well, you guys know what to do. If you enjoyed the episode, share it on social media. Tag Call the Damn Leads. Tag Pass the Queso. Let the world know you got some value out of it. Maybe you know somebody who like really sucks at this whole process. You don't have to tell them that, but like maybe send them this episode and just say, hey, I heard this. It's a cool podcast. I was thinking of you.
It might inspire you.
Yeah, right. It's I think you'll get some value out of it. And share it with the world, because that's what this is all about. Call the Damn Leads is all about helping people understand how to develop, grow, and become better sales professionals so they can live the life that they want to live. And if you have a crazy sales story, you want to share it on the show, callthedamnleads.com/podcast. You'll be on our email newsletter list. And while you're there, you can grab some swag, maybe a hat, sweatshirt, keychain, because you know what to do next. Pick up the phone, call the Damn Leads. We'll see you next time. Later, y'all.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.